entryways of Harrison or McCoy on the TV screens. And it would show which rooms had decreased the most usage in the second semester, and also who was using the most, which would make it more competitive and would utilize those social pressures. So.
And just to add, they advertised this or are promoting it as a thing that they're using in hotels and large office buildings and things like that, where they're actually breaking it down room by room, floor by floor, everything like that. So it does have the capability to actually show all the different datas and all the different rooms and stuff. But like she said, it's still in beta, and we tried to contact them, but we haven't heard back. You guys might have a little more sway, though.
A lot of the dashboards that we've been looking at, too, have different ways to display that data. They talk about things like, saving so many trees and the carbon footprint and all that kind of stuff. Is that things that you all would be interested in and want to see, or how would you want to see the displays?
I think the main thing students would want to see is just, I think it would be great to put it in terms like that, where it's like not some big, okay, you didn't use like 50 kilowatt hours, okay, what do I care? I think it's much more important to see like, oh, this actually, saved this many trees, or this actually cut down on that, because it's something that we can connect with and then we can understand it. It puts it kind of in layman terms, where we're not just looking at these random numbers that are 0.3563 or whatever, so.
Yep. Yeah, no, I would definitely agree, but I would open it up to some of the students that are here too, and ask them.
Putting you on the spot.
Thanks. I definitely would want to see like more relatable numbers. It might be cool with the competition to do like who can grow the biggest forest by like how much you're saving, because it's fun and forests are dying. So that might be cool. But then just like, I think students really thrive on competition, but not petty competition, like something that actually is making a difference, like saving the environment. Another unrelated note, I really like the timer lights, and if you're redoing any buildings, that'd be great, because I know a lot of buildings have lights on all the time, and it's super frustrating to me and other students. So.
Talking about how to display it on the dashboards, I think money would be the best way. That's what we all want to see, how much we are saving in terms of money. And so this month, you saved so and so dollars because you managed your resources.
I would just like to tag along. I'm not a student, but I've got solar panels at my house, and when the electric company sends me my bill, they show me dollar signs of how much I'm saving by having those solar panels, and it sure has an impact on us, and it tells us that. On a completely different question, during your research, did you contact the Electric Power Research Institute and get any information from them? Or have you ever heard of them?
No, we did not contact them.
Okay, just Fred, as you guys are talking about, EPRI is like the counterpart to the Gas Research Institute, and they have, well, it's been many years since I've worked with them, but they used to have a whole lot of educational programs where they worked with educational institutes to help educate students on the electric industry. So if we could tie this into some type of, let's educate future consumers, that maybe they have a program where they have meters that they will give to you or subsidize somehow or help you implement this system, because out in California it's mandated that they do certain conservation things, that they have then triggered that across the US. Now, it's been a few years since I've worked with them, but they used to have a lot of new technology helping develop the new meters, so that might be a good place for you to touch base with.
Yeah, that would be a really good start, I think, and that would go along with the lectures and everything. And just bringing up California, the University of California, Los Angeles actually did this kind of thing with the competition, and like you said, with plug charges, that they saw a 25 to 30% drop the next year in the amount of electricity that was being used through plugs.
I'm Mark Miller in the Provost's office, and I just wanted to point out that the Information Systems program with the math department, they, on the one hand, first they offer courses in handheld apps, developing apps for things like that. So you might want to reach out to Jeremy Wong or to Bob Van Camp, because they're the two that teach that class. And also every year they have a capstone project that's always very application-based. And I was thinking, as this company's beta testing their product, this might be the kind of thing that maybe even students might want to look at, the IS students, and say, oh, well, we could do something similar to this, and see if that would be something that where we're getting actually students involved in developing the app for it, in addition to the students getting involved in promoting the project. I think it's a great idea.
I've been here at the college for a little bit of time, and I think the one thing that we have a difficulty in doing is telling students how to live their lives. So I like your idea of making the information visible to students so they can make their own decisions. What I was curious about is, have you investigated any technology that students could invest in when they arrive here at Marietta College, where their computers or their laptops, computers, their electronic devices have occupancy sensors on the extension cords or on the remote plug-ins or whatever the case may be, so students could be advised, purchase these types of tools, and it can help you with energy management in your residence hall.
We didn't look at that extensively. I know, though, through my just looking at different things, there are quite a bit of the surge protectors now that do, I know they do phone and laptop. I'm sure they do an array of things, and they realize when your phone hits 100 and it just it flips it off, and then it waits, and it realizes if your phone gets down to, I think it was like below 80%, it turns back on, it charges it, and things like that. So there are those types of products out there that I do think we might be able to do a better job of maybe promoting to the younger kids and stuff. Buy these in your freshman year when your mom's paying for it and you're not buying it, So.
And just as a follow-up to that, we do that with air conditioning units when students are authorized to have those. We do those with micro fridges. We try to indicate to students the type of purchases they can make that are energy efficient. And if we could add that into the student manual, again, I think it might lead students to make good decisions, and then you can take those investments when you move out into the world. So if you could help us determine those investments students could make, that would be beneficial to us.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just kind of a starting point. This is just something that we thought would be an innovative way to try it. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of things that have to change and stuff, but yeah, I definitely think just the whole idea of kind of getting that education and cutting down on making Marietta College more sustainable would be something that benefits everybody here.
Along that same line, whenever we do any major equipment, installation or upgrades, we buy the highest SEER rating that we can buy for the air conditioning units, and we buy the highest efficiency, boilers that we can get in here too. I guess I'm kind of like with Fred. Have you guys done any surveys or have any feedback? Because a lot of it is behavioral changes where you can save money. We had a lot of meetings ourselves just with our own faculty and staff to try to get them to buy into it. What's your feeling as far as your guys' generation is, and how many are ready to jump on board and how many would not be,
Yeah. That's part of the reason that Tyler talked a lot about the incentive. And because as students, making a behavioral change at a cost for us doesn't necessarily sound that appealing in the beginning. And so having it competitive, having some form of financial incentive, which might not be a lot, but would be enough to get me to bump Tyler and say, hey, turn off the light. Like, we could get $100 at the end of this. Using those social pressures, I think, is going to be really, really important, and being competitive, and definitely having some type of financial incentive at the end. And they probably wouldn't give it to their mom. So.
And on that same topic, in my ad campaigns class with Lori Smith, who's sitting right next to you, we had to do a bunch of research on our generation, and we actually learned that one of the top things millennials care about is kind of like fighting for a cause or making a change, bettering themselves and others, and bettering the world. So I do think, going green is something that millennials really care about, kind of, making a betterment for the earth and making a change like that is definitely something that's on their mind. So this would be a way to kind of throw it in front of their face.
the one thing I want to say too is that Harrison Hall and McCoy are already set up with the kind of technology we need to feed into to a dashboard. And that the incentives we have right now is that the college has signed up with American Electric Power, our provider, and that any energy conservation we could do, say in those 2 buildings, we will actually get a rebate from them for the next 18 months of 2 cents a kilowatt hour. So there's a huge incentive there. And so there's a pot of money that we could earn together, students and the administration, to get those savings. So possibly the rewards are there. Paul is our energy coach for the college with AEP. And there's actually a committee already in place, the Sustainable Committee, that is helping to implement that. So if there are any students here who would like to carry on your effort, the committee's there, the incentive's there, and the technology's there. So we're ready to take that next step.
I'm just curious if any of the current business owners or previous business owners that are in the room have had this discussion for your individual businesses, in particular if you have any employees, and how do you deal with this with your employees?
Well, one thing that amazes me is that 50 years ago, I was involved with the environmental movement at West Virginia University, and it's great seeing that it's a norm. But my maintenance fellow and I talk a lot about insulation. We talk about things we'd like to do would be to put solar panels on the roof, because the utilities keep going up, and we need to figure out ways of bringing it down, and just taking care of certain areas, making sure that the toilets don't run, changing out toilets to see that they're efficient toilets. I have 20 employees, so they get used all the time. So yeah, this discussion and how to take the heat from our air compressor and push it back in the building during the winter, and then to take that and maybe convert it to energy other times of the year. We're working on those things now. Well, they complain how hot it is, and or that they're too hot, and so they want the air conditioning up, and then in the winter it's too cold and they want the heat up. So we try to do things, tell them don't touch the thermostats, and so it's tough though because they don't pay for it.
That's a big issue here too, the whole you don't pay for it, you never really realize, and everyone just kind of complains about how high tuition is, so sometimes it's even like, what do I care? I'm paying $40,000 here, I can leave the TV on or whatever. But now if you had like an actual reason to stop and think about it, hopefully people would.
Are there any students here who are junior or sophomore who want to kind of get together with these guys who are departing so that they can kind of continue working on it, and maybe we can put something together next fall and just kind of get it going, even if it's small? Anybody interested? If you're interested, talk to them. If you're interested, also, guys, these cards, feedback cards, we really want your feedback because this is just the beginning. We want to get better and better and better from here on. So please take a few minutes, give us some feedback, and anything else you want to tell us, you can, as Sarah said, put on the back of these cards, and we are really interested in what you have to say. We have a couple minutes. Any other questions?
Well, thank you guys very much for listening to us, and thank you guys for coming out, and hopefully we can make a change and have students everywhere pulling out their electronics.
Thank you. Also, there's still cups left over. Those are your gifts. Take them. They're recyclable. And I'll see you. Well, April the 9th is our next session. 2 new pictures on campus. So don't miss April the 9th. That's another Thursday from 4 to 5. Thank you all. Bye.